So behind me we have the BenQ Mobiuz EX3415R, and this is a 1440p 34-inch ultra-wide monitor, and it costs $1,000. For a gaming monitor and an ultra-wide that you can use for productivity, is it worth $1,000? Well, that's what we're here to find out today. Jumping into the specs, this is a 34-inch 3440 by 1440p resolution with a 1900R curve. It is an IPS monitor running at 144 Hz with a 1 millisecond response time as well. It does feature AMD FreeSync Premium, so you do have, buttery smooth gameplay and all that stuff if you want better adaptive sync, and it does indeed work with NVIDIA GPUs. A couple of things that make this monitor special is that it does feature speakers from Trevolo, and it also does feature BenQ's HDRI technology that we'll talk about in a little bit. Talking about the design of the monitor, it does have a pretty clean aesthetic. It's mostly grays all around the monitor, except for when you get to the stand. So when you get to the stand, it is mostly gray again, but you do have these huge orange accents on the front. Not to mention that the stand is also huge, as typically it always is with gaming monitors. But don't get me wrong, I like orange accents, but not this much. Like this, it's kind of obnoxious. I wish you guys would tone it down a lot. No more orange accents on the front of the stand. Maybe on the back if you really gotta have it, or just maybe the text on the front, make the BenQ logo orange if you have to, but not the entire front of the stand. Like, that's just kind of ugly, but I digress. Mobiuz logos on the bag, HDRI logo and button on the front as well. And then in terms of the IO, 2 HDMIs, 1 display port, a headphone jack, and a couple of USBs. I do wish that there was more USB inputs as well, being as it's a 34-inch monitor. I do think that 2 is a little bit on the light side. I would like there to be like minimum 3, maybe 4, and just have 2 of them that are on the bottom or the left or right side of the monitor that are a little bit easier to reach than being like underneath and kind of far back like what by the rest of the ports, really, because they're kind of hard to reach. And Alienware honestly has the best implementation of USBs on a monitor, just right at the front on the bottom, super easy to reach. I wish that more monitor companies would do the same thing. In terms of getting around the monitor, you have a few buttons on the bottom of the monitor as well as a navigation nipple, and then you also do have this handy dandy remote that they give you inside the box. So this remote is actually really clutch, super nice to use, and it makes it really easy to navigate the on-screen display. Like seriously, I don't know why more monitors don't give you remotes, but probably because they don't come with speakers. Speaking of which, these speakers are from Trevolo. They give you two 2-watt speakers as well as 1 5-watt woofer. Here are some quick sound tests between the different sound modes. I'll indicate it on screen. I can't remember the exact name of it, but one of the modes sounds significantly better than the rest of them. Now getting into the blur performance, this monitor does feature a motion blur reduction mode, which does cause a little bit of strobing. In real life, it doesn't drop the brightness of the monitor, which is really good. And I'm really glad that it doesn't at all, especially because it only runs at 144 Hertz. If it ran at something like well above that, like 240 Hertz or something, then maybe I would expect it to drop the brightness a little bit, but that's not saying that I like it. I just kind of would expect it because that's usually what happens. But considering that it's running at a relatively low refresh rate, I'm glad that it doesn't change the brightness regardless. Getting back on topic, it does cause a little bit of strobing on camera, but not in person. At least I am not able to perceive it. So that's really nice as well, because it is very easy on the eyes. Getting to the UFO test, Personally, I only like using AMA 1 and AMA 2. Between the two, sometimes AMA 2 you may notice a little bit of chroning in games, but nothing that's really noticeable. Like when you go all the way to AMA 3, it is extremely noticeable in game. Like you will move your character around and it makes you a little sick, just a little bit. And when you have on the blur reduction mode, it'll make you throw up. Like it's really bad. Do not use AMA 3, trust me. Use AMA 1 or 2. 2 obviously feels ever so slightly snappier than AMA 1, but AMA 1 is definitely usable and will give you, I think, the best balance of performance and really not having to worry about any coronas and just a light amount of ghosting. AMA 0 for either mode is just way too slow to play games on, so I don't recommend using it really at all. Now, when the monitor is in the FPS mode, you do have a black equalizer, but in all of the other modes, you will have another feature called Light Tuner, which is kind of similar to the black equalizer. And basically what they do, they just make it a lot easier to see what's going on in the darker areas. And I do wish that the black equalizer mode was available in other modes that aren't labeled FPS. There is also a color vibrance option as well. Normally it'll be default at 10, which is going to be your standard color vibrance. You don't really want to push it past that if you're doing anything color sensitive, because that'll drastically change the outcome of your color and everything that you're working with. But otherwise, if you're playing a game like Warzone or something that is really desaturated and there isn't a lot of color, then you might want to really crank that up depending on the game you're playing. Unfortunately, on this monitor, there's no diag technology. There is no BenQ IPS monitor that does feature that diag technology just yet. We're still hoping and praying and waiting for them to release an IPS monitor with diag tech that has better colors, obviously, than all their TN panels, and also gives you that really clean motion performance. Now, with those things being said and having those really nice features that a lot of other competitive gaming monitors have, is this something that you can use in a competitive setting? Well, I would say that maybe is really the answer. I mean, if you're more of a casual gamer, you'll definitely have a lot of enjoyment on this monitor, especially if you do a little bit of content creation on the side or whatever. It is really good for both the casual games as well as doing some content creation because of that really good color accuracy. But when it comes to playing competitive, you're probably going to want to go with the 16:9 monitor. Reason being, this 34-inch monitor is extremely immersive. Like, I mean, really immersive. It makes playing games a lot more fun. It is a much more enjoyable experience, especially if you're playing like single player games and stuff like that. It's just a lot more fun and it makes you feel like you're a little bit more a part of the world. But when you're playing competitively, I'm not too sure that you want the same level of immersion as you do increase focus and just focusing on the game and making sure that you're performing at your best. I feel like if you're playing on a monitor that's a little bit too big, it's easy to get distracted by the things that you typically aren't in your peripheral vision. Now, depending on who you are, you can use that as knowledge and have it actually improve your game, but you're also going to be at that disadvantage where if you are playing in a competitive setting where everybody else is using faster technology than you, well, in that case, probably not the best idea. So with that being said, I don't really think that you should use this monitor competitively. Like, could you play some competitive online shooters? Yes, but if you're trying to go pro, I don't really think that this is the best decision for you. This is more of like a prosumer entertainment AAA title kind of monitor that makes it really easy to enjoy, because when you start to use some of the other features like the built-in speakers that I think are pretty good, especially for the price range, and most other monitors don't come with built-in speakers that sound nearly as good. And also having that HDRI feature, which I think is okay, like if you really mess with like the light tuner and black EQ and all that stuff to make it look a lot better, what I find is that that HDRI button drastically increases contrast and it doesn't always look the absolute best that I think that it could. I think that it could do a better job with relaxing on the contrast a little bit and maybe just trying to brighten a little bit of the brighter areas in the screen and maybe adding a bit of saturation in the lighter areas as well. I do feel like that would be a much better implementation. But what I find between all three of those HDRI modes is that it really just increases that contrast to like insanely crazy levels. Now for movie watching, it's not too bad. It's really not the end of the world. But in game, It's definitely not something that you want to use while you're playing competitive titles, but it is something that you may or may not want to use if you're playing like an immersive AAA title again. But either way, I've really enjoyed my time using this 34-inch monitor. The speakers are really nice. The color accuracy is very good too. Let me know how you guys think the past couple of videos have turned out using this monitor. The first one, I do think it had a little bit more of a yellowish tint. I messed with the color a little bit more to make the whites a little bit more natural and match my other monitors as well. So hopefully you guys like the color that a lot of the videos going forward will turn out, because I'm going to be using this monitor a little bit more before I decide to switch back to my other monitor that I primarily use for video editing and whatnot. But I just really been enjoying it, and I love the faster refresh rate, and I love just how snappy it is. Like, it's just a very fast and quick feeling monitor. Not as fast again as a 240 hertz competitive monitor, but it's pretty fast. I do wish that this monitor was 165 hertz or 180 hertz even. That would be pretty much incredible, and I do think that it would be a lot more fair at that $1,000 price tag to have a little bit faster refresh rate than it does. Even on their website, I'm pretty sure that this is a typo, but somewhere on there it says that this monitor runs at 165 hertz, but that's definitely wrong. It does not run at 165 hertz, at least not to my knowledge. Only runs at 144. So make sure you keep that in mind if you are interested in this monitor and you're browsing on BenQ's site. But that's pretty much all I have for you guys. This monitor is a pretty good buy, especially for $1,000, and with the value proposition of just not having to immediately go out and buy speakers. And this is just something that's really good and solid to hold you over until you're able to afford the proper speakers that you want, instead of just going out and getting some cheap speakers. I do think that that is a really good value that's kind of hard to pass up. And if you're looking to just rock a one monitor setup, with this one being really good for both content creation and consumption as well as gaming, it's kind of hard not to recommend, especially for around $1,000. But again, once it goes on sale, it's going to be an even better deal. But that's all I got for you guys. If you guys enjoy, feel free to drop a like and subscribe if you guys are new to the channel as well. Thank you guys again for watching Too Much Tech, and I will see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and join our Discord as well to see updates on some of the new videos that we are working on. I'll see you in the next one.